You're listening to the ECG Hackers podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Each week we are dropping a new episode.
Hey there, golf fans. I'm the Ashman. Welcome to this little round two update of the US Masters 2024. Joining us, we've got Rambo down there. Hey, brother. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Good. Going well.
Awesome. Nice. And, of course, Zook, the main man tonight. Over to you, Zook. You can run this show, bro.
All right. Cheers, Ash.
No worries.
Obviously, we're at the half point of the tournament, and certainly we're all looking forward to the commencement of day 3 in a few hours' time. But
and a bit of sleep.
Maybe, yeah, a little bit of sleep. But, Ash, maybe I'll start with you first.
Yep.
What has been the highlight of the tournament so far?
Oh, good question. Actually, I got to say one of the highlights is the US Masters app. Fantastic app. So watching the broadcast and having the app going, I'm finding that probably cutting edge, really. So the interactivity with this year's Masters, I'm really impressed with. Highlights wise, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods for me. Okay. I'm a big DeChambeau fan, but I'm just glued to Tiger Woods. Yeah. What about you, Rand?
Yeah, I'm the same. It's good to see Tiger out there, and especially on our time zone, being able to see him on that second round. Luckily for us, we got to see a lot of him. I'm just enjoying the fact that there's no runaway leader at the moment, and it's tight. You know, we don't have like some runaway leader, and we're like, I'm always like that. I want to see it, whatever sporting event it is. I want it to go down the wire. So that's probably the best part of it so far.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Chris?
I'm probably been a little bit on Tiger Watch too. We'll probably touch on Tiger a bit more later on, but he's certainly been the focus of my viewing. Certainly been managing my sleeping habits to ensure I've been able to watch as much of him live as possible. So
Have you been using the app, Chris? You've been
I love the app, particularly if you want to catch up quickly. The ability just to click on a player and literally just watch their entire round, all their shots at the tap of a finger. It's brilliant. Certainly, a tip of the cap to the Masters and their technology partner, IBM. I think they're on a winner with that app. So obviously, Rand, you touched on there the closeness of play. Part of that really is driven by the nature of the course itself. It certainly presented a greater challenge on day 2. Strong winds, which were averaging between 20 and 25 mile an hour, but gusts of up to 40 mile an hour certainly disrupted ball flight and have added to the already fast greens by drying them up. Tommy Fleetwood in comments afterwards mentioned that it was a scrap all day. Nothing was safe. Nothing was done until the ball was in the hole. And then per ESPN on Thursday, the combined scoring of the field was plus 76. And on Friday, it was plus 325. So that gives you an indication of how things changed. Yeah. So, Ash, how did you see the course changing from the first to the second day?
From a golf fan's perspective, I actually really enjoyed round 2. It was a huge challenge. And like Rand touched on before, no one's blowing out. The first round, I knew it was a bit odd. It was a bit softer. And it wasn't as windy, but once that wind gusted up, it was such a challenge to watch. Every tee shot, you see the golfer talking to the caddy and they're looking at the trees. I find it really enthralling.
The caddies certainly earned their money today. They were certainly a big part of the action today.
Yeah, and just even DeChambeau, the way he's been very animated. I love that guy. I love watching him, but he's very animated. But you can see them looking at the treetops, stepping away from the ball. Those guys out in front they've been battling and to stay out in front. That's the way I saw it. What about you?
Yeah, no, you made the point you just made about the caddies is interesting. I was watching that all the interactions with the caddies is so detailed, and some of them more than others. But I noticed that even Tiger Woods, though, have you noticed that he doesn't actually have a lot of interaction with his caddy?
No. Yes.
Yeah, which is quite interesting. So that's something to watch out for when you're watching the following rounds. Sometimes, I even saw him get Jason Day's caddy to wash one of his balls for him. So it's quite interesting to watch.
Actually, I did notice that Jason Day and Tiger Woods, they're pretty tight, I think, right? They must be pretty close or have respect.
I think so, yeah.
to some.
Yeah, they both are sponsored by TaylorMade and probably have interactions, off field, perhaps a bit more than others. So yeah, but yeah, no, it was certainly great to have them both in the same pairing for 2 rounds. That certainly was the marquee pairing that I was following along the way. But as touched on, after 2 rounds, we've got a 3-way tie at the top with Bryson DeChambeau, Scotty Scheffler, and Max Homa, all at 6 under par. Bryson got to a low of 8 under before dropping a couple of strokes as he closed out the back 9 today. Max probably looked the best of the 3 today, reaching 15 of 18 greens in regulation in these trying conditions. I thought that was a pretty remarkable performance.
Yeah, that is a good stat.
Scotty carded an even 72, so it was pretty steady today, which kept him at 6 under. I guess given where we are now after 2 rounds, Ash, will we see a winner coming from any of these 3?
Yeah. In the last couple of hours, I've been looking at this. I love my golf, and I've been really thinking I've got a magic number. It's 7 strokes. I think the winner's going to come within 7 strokes of Homa and DeChambeau right now. So if we look at that, I'm suggesting, in my opinion, which is probably worth very little, is actually coming from that top page there. So anyone at 1 under to 6 under, I believe, can take this. And when you look at how they're scored there, Max Homa's on fire. He's the only one there that's really put together 2 amazing scores, and he's on 6 under. DeChambeau, to me, even though he's my favorite golfer, I feel like that's it for him. He might finish on 8 under, 9 under.
Yeah.
Scheffler, it's going to be between Scheffler, Homa, and I'll make a call. I think Ludwig Aberg here.
Okay.
Look at how he scored 73 in the first round when it was wet and a bit slower. In the bad, tough conditions, he shot a 69, boys. That's probably, in my opinion, what's going to happen again tonight. So I'm going to say I feel like it's going to be Homa, Scheffler, and Aberg at the moment.
I think you're right. I think Homa does look like he's the most dialed in, and if he could explode out. So I reckon he's definitely got a good chance. Where was Cam Smith? Was he at 1 under as well?
Yes,
maybe
he's in that magic number though. He's still there.
I agree.
1 under.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the range. Any of them can have a good round today and be in striking distance. So, I agree. I don't think Morikawa, Fleetwood, any of those guys. I think it's definitely those top 3, and maybe an outside like Cam Smith might get his putter going and might be able to cover the gap.
I think that was still really, really good to watch. Cam Smith, to me, was playing great, and his chipping around the green was really good. He's just got to get used to that, how firm the greens are at the moment, I think. But what about you, Chris? What do you think, mate?
It was interesting. You touched on Max there. He was one of only 2 players to have scored under par for both rounds. So that's an indication of how well he's playing. But personally, I think I still think it's Scotty's to lose. He's had a great couple of months, and again, he's asserted himself at the top of the leaderboard. So if I were a betting man, that's where I'd be going. So I certainly think that the winner will be in the top 3 as a result of that. But
I think back to episode 3 or 4, Chris, we actually picked Scheffler to win the Masters this year. I recall.
Yeah. Well, not a brave pick, but a pick none the same. Right. Yeah. But we did touch on the Aussies, and really, it's probably a lesser known Australian that's flying the flag at the moment. Cam Davis with a 3 under par total through the 36 holes certainly has, shown he can mix it with the best, and certainly carded a great round today given the trying conditions. I guess, Ash, currently tied for 5th. Cam Smith, do you think he can continue to assert himself and be in contention come Sunday?
Yeah, I do. He's just outside that magic number 7 that I was talking about. Look, he might finish at 5 under for the tournament. do very well. He won't be the best finished Australian. Cam Smith will, but he's doing very well. I think Cam Davis, he's not going to win it, in my opinion, but he'll finish 5-6 under. That's my worthless opinion.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Actually, he's definitely playing well. He's just still pretty young. How old actually is he? He's in his 20s, right? I think he must be 26 or something like that, maybe.
Cam Davis, late 20s, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's
Click
still green.
Click on that bio tab on the.
Yeah. You actually go to the app.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
That's
but
right.
he's young, so he's probably a little bit green. I saw him play at Genesis. He's big, strong kid, so I mean, it'd be awesome if he can hold it together and at least stay in the same spot he's now. But yeah, Cam Smith, I think if he can dial
he's hit 58% of greens hit, and that's including yesterday. There's nothing wrong with that, really. Fairways hit. That's the conditions at the moment. I mean, it's treacherous off the tee, isn't it? As we're watching, if you can hit a fairway, you're doing well. He's hit 75% of fairways. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
What do you think, Chris?
So, I'm probably going to be a little biased. I probably think, similar to you, Ash, that it's Cam Smith that has the firepower. I think just his creativity around the greens and his putting. If that catches fire, he's the one that really can post a low number either tomorrow or Sunday. So it'd be he's the one out of the Australian contingent. I'm just touching on the rest of the Australian contingent, as we've mentioned. Cam Smith's on -1, Min Woo on +4, Jason Day on +4, and Adam Scott on +6. So I think we can probably rule those out. It really is a case of Cam Smith or Cam Davis who's really going to, come to the fore on Sunday and play a part.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll see how it goes. But someone who we're both glad that's continued to play a part is Tiger. He obviously made the cut, and with that, he now stands alone with 24 consecutive cuts made at Augusta. His play was actually
that's
pretty
record,
good.
isn't it?
It is a record.
Yeah.
And his play over the 2 rounds was pretty good. I was surprised given the lack of competitive rounds of golf that he had. His round today, that fairway wood approach on the 15th was just probably one of the shots of the day. And he was able to scramble pretty well and get up and down generally when he needed to save par, particularly on the back 9. However, at times it did look a little hard work for him just walking around and getting from point A to point B. But Ran, how did you rate Tiger's performance, and where do you think he'll finish up?
I think we picked it before that he's definitely got a chance. Like, he's put himself in a position to have a chance. He couldn't have had it any tougher, really, could he, physically? Because he's had to play 24 holes in, was it 24 or 23? I can't remember. But such a short
23, 5 and 18.
23. Yeah. And you got to think, on top of that, he probably would have had a bad night. He would have finished at 7:50, I think, on the night before. Dinner, bad night's sleep because you're finishing late. Get up early. So he's physically, he's had it really tough, and then come out and play the 23 holes on top of that. Like, that's a tough, he's had it the toughest out of anyone, because he's had the poor, I think there was a 40-minute after that first round to then the second round. I think he had about 40 minutes. So after
him and Jason Day.
So that he couldn't have had it any tougher. He does look like he's laboring. Like, there was times when he goes into the bunker and he's like, really steady, trying to step in there steadily and stuff. So I think he's got a chance. He's playing well. And where does he get all these reps from? Like, he hasn't been playing. So he's obviously just been.
I heard him say the other day, Ran, that leading up, or every day, he has 1,000 connections with a golf ball. So he obviously, whether that's 300 chips, 200 putts. So he has, I mean, it's just muscle memory, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's all he needs.
I'll just bring up a stat, Ran, and Chris, you might really I find this fascinating. He has hit 79% of fairways on both round 1 and round 2. So I think that's indicative of the way he is so consistent, but the way he approaches it, whether it was round 1 or round 2 in that windy, dry conditions, he still hit almost 80% of fairways. And that to me shows that he can get very close to this tonight.
No, he's been good off the tee, particularly his driver's been solid. He does often, look to play the 3-wood off the tee as well, but that certainly hasn't been an issue as those stats suggest. He's been he's been driving the ball.
Probably
very
the stat that is probably letting him down is his greens hit. He's only hit 50% in round 1 and 44 in round 2. So his strategy off the tee is beautiful. It's just getting on those bloody greens seems very hard, very, very hard.
Yeah.
Imagine you and I trying to do that. That'd be terrible.
I'm sure he's not alone in those stats, particularly in round 2. I think that would have been horrible, and that's why, Max's performance where he got, 15 out of 18 greens in regulation. I tip my cap to the guy. But moving on to the amateurs, the low scoring amateur is a prestigious honour at the Masters and something that's an area of focus throughout the tournament. But one of the amateurs that's caught my attention is the South African Christo Lamprecht. He didn't make the cut, unfortunately. He did have a solid round today, in all things considered, of 76. The reason why he's caught my attention is that he's 6'8" tall. That certainly has a very unique swing as a result of it. Now, given his height and the current rules in relation to clubs and having a maximum club length, with his swing, he actually has to bend his knees to ensure that he can make contact with the ball. So, Ash, do you think there should be an exemption to the maximum club length rule in situations such as his?
Yeah, this is such a good question. And funny enough, I was talking at the dinner table with my kids and they've got very little interest in it, but I asked them what they thought. And they, from a non-golfer's perspective, they think it's unfair for him to have to play short clubs. All right. So I thought, take that on board. To me, on the other hand, if we let a guy play with the 42, 43-inch clubs, 44-inch clubs, then anyone can do it. So it's opening that can of worms a little bit. I think maybe there should be somehow a height restriction. Once you're over 6'3", you can use extra long clubs or something. But how do you police that? How do you police that? But then there's also, so I took that feedback on board, but then I also thought, well, basketball, another passion of mine, you might get Manute Bol or George Murasan, who is 7'7", and George Murasan could just lift his hand and dunk it. So, I mean, to me, you don't then go just moving the goalpost player, do you? He's a freak of nature. So, I don't know. To be inclusive and let anyone play the game, maybe we should height and let him have a longer club. But I think it's too hard to enforce or police. My thoughts. What about you, Rich? What do you think?
What's the actual limit trying to do? What's the objective of having a limit on the length?
It's just trying to restrict clubhead speed because
so longer lever, more power, or whatever.
100%.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I mean, he's already got that because he's got massive arms anyway. But the poor guy has to bend over too much.
I mean, I've got a bit of sympathy for him. I've got Damo's old clubs, and he's 5'9", and I'm 6'2".
You got the reverse problem.
I've got the same problem. I try and use his clubs. I've got to bend over and bend my knees to use his clubs, and it works.
Yeah, right.
You just got to get used to it. So maybe he needs to suck it up and get used to it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay, I like that.
So
move on. That's the great way to finish that one.
So along with the amateurs, and another tradition is past champions. So there is those champions that are currently competing, but there are also, I guess, what I would label ceremonial champions who have finished up their competitive days, but still tee it up at the Masters as they're able to do. Two of those that were in play this weekend were Vijay Singh and Jose Maria Olazabal.
Yep.
Now, surprisingly, given the conditions in play, both of those made the cut. So, again, well played to them. And I guess from my perspective, Ash, and I'm interested in your thoughts, do you enjoy the participation of these ceremonial champions, and also at what point do you think, a ceremonial champion should, call it a day?
I think they should play until they can't play anymore. I mean, I would love to see Jack Nicklaus there. I would love to see him at Arnold Palmer when he was 90. I would love to see the Shark still there, but he didn't win. There we go. I would love to see I don't care, because if they make the cut, they make the cut. If they don't, it's all about that history, and that to me is very important as well. What do you think?
I just had an observation of watching VJ. Did you see he's wearing those Hoka running shoes?
Yeah.
So he didn't have spikes.
What brand
on.
are they? I
Hoka.
couldn't see what brand they were. Hoka.
So they're meant to be a really good running shoe, just running shoe, like super comfortable, big, nice sole. But which is great. I'm an advocate for wearing sneakers on the course, because I think it's more about the walk more than the grip. But again, he should. I think that's something Tiger should be considering. He should be considering wearing the
100%
shoes that VJ's wearing. He might be able to cope a bit more. But and sorry, the only observation I had on that was the Shark. You mentioned the Shark, Ash. Did you hear that he had to buy a ticket to get into the grounds, which is shocking?
I did. Yeah, shocking.
But anyway, Chris, I don't know what you thought about.
Disgraceful. Anyway.
Look, I'm almost thinking it's a 3 strikes and you're out rule. Like, once you don't make the cut 3 years in a row, I think it's then, perhaps time to, put away the clubs and, I'd probably call it a day. Maybe it's once you retire, you get a 5-year grace. Contest, maybe? Yeah, something like that. I think that's fair. They're not denying access there to that tournament, but I think the main championship, it might be a bit beyond them. But I guess finally, just
is there no limit, Chris? Is there no
limit? You can keep turning up, and as we touched on before, on Thursday's podcast, good old Billy Casper, who decided, after a few years not playing, when he was 73, to tee it up, and lo and behold, a 105. So, he should have, stayed off the green. But anyway, maybe someone who should have stayed off the green. Just touching on fashion here, we all know golfers take their fashion pretty seriously. And certainly with his move to Melbourne, Jason Day almost seems to be focusing as much on his on-course fashion as his actual on-course performance. So ran with blue parachute pants on the first day and a statement vest on day 2. What are your thoughts on Jason's attire so far?
Day 1, I think it was fine. I think it was an A+. I think it looked good. Because I did listen to him. No, it wasn't him. It was, I think, it's Steve Malbon talking about the gear for him, and they were talking about he wanted loose fitting. He's like, "Why is everything tight?" And we can relate. Like, none of us want to be wearing like the tight pants like Victor Hovland or any of those guys. He's like, I want loose fitting. Because I've got to walk, I've got to swing a club, so I don't need all these tight clothes. So that's why he's gone towards that. I think it's going to catch on. Like, the Melbourne brand is already quite popular and growing. I think we'll be looking back in 5 years and everyone will be wearing,
mate, I couldn't agree with you more, Rand. I couldn't agree with you more. I think he's setting a trend.
Yeah, I think he's setting a trend. As for day 2, though, with the vest, I don't give that an A+. I think Dooley,
you wouldn't get on Mungery Park with that. They'd say, "Hey, no logos here."
Yeah, I think Dooley said that he made a few comments. He looked like an oil can, and then maybe like a pack of Marlboro cigarettes. So, I even as a big fan of the Melbourne brand and what they're doing, I just thought that it's probably not the best in their
No.
range
Yeah.
that he could have picked, to be honest. So,
Yeah.
but
He did get
I've got to
a tap on
say,
the shoulder round, and they asked him to take it off quietly.
did they?
That's why he took it off. Yeah.
You did? Yeah, okay.
He
Because I
did.
did see him
Yeah.
wearing the polo later on. Yeah, I mean, it was a bit bold for
was.
the Masters to have any text. Like you can have bold colours or whatever, but the text and stuff is too much.
Yeah.
I think the worst was, I don't know if you saw, there's been some bad polos out there the last couple of
Oh,
days.
totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you see Hatton had one? And I think it had like I'm not sure if it was I'm not sure what brand it was. And I'm not sure if it was Live related or something. Or no, he's not on Live, is he? But
Yes,
it was
is.
just all.
Yep.
It was very. Is he? Oh, it was very bold and it was purple and stuff. So I don't know if there's a picture of it you can find, Ash. But he was wearing a shocking polo, way too noisy. I didn't like that. I like that a lot less than what Jay Day's
At
been
the
doing.
Masters, it's almost like you need to be like Wimbledon a bit, tone it down.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not conservative, but
No, I'm surprised there hasn't been more of that. A lot of them try, as we've got in our background here, the azaleas. A lot of players are in the pinks and the fuchsias with floral type polos. But one thing that has been surprising has been the Live players wearing their Live attire. So I was surprised that got through. The Masters authorities. So were you surprised, Ash, on that one?
No, not at all. Their sponsor, that's if you can have a KPMG or if you can have a workday sponsorship, you can have Live who paid you $20 million or whatever it is. And it's their brand. So no, I think you'll find moving ahead, like the Four Aces have set a new standard now. They're going to be privately owned, I believe. Is that right? Or
they've got someone, marketing and advertising executives in to help grow their brand as well. So so I think there's going to be something happening there.
Yeah, I think, and if you're clever about it, they will become privately owned, little brands like the Rippers and the Stingers and whatnot. Yeah. So I don't have a problem. I wasn't surprised.
I kind of disagree. I don't think it's the place to be wearing your team stuff here. Like, it's a different. You're not playing for your team right now, so you shouldn't be wearing your team stuff. I don't mind the Live logo or whatever, but they're wearing the. I think it might have been Cam Smith even wearing the
Cam
the team
Smith's
hat.
wearing his Rippers. Yeah.
Bryson's wearing his Crusher stuff. So
yeah.
But you don't know. I think they've signed off on it. I think you'll find in their agreement would have been some sort of you
must wear
agreement.
It. Yeah,
you must wear it.
Yeah, it just doesn't. I'm not against Live in any way. I love Live. I just don't think it fits. It's a bit odd to be wearing your team, not representing.
There's no team play this week. It's all about the individual. So I can see that point, Rand.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I think, I'm pretty much for it. I can just see they're really trying to promote their brand, and that's probably it.
Cool. All right. Speaking of trying to promote brands, ECG and the ECG Masters Fantasy.
Great brand.
Bloody
great brand.
So, Ash, if you don't mind, let's have a quick look at the results after day 2.
Yes. Okay, let me bring that up for you.
So we have had some movement since round 1, and as you can see for those who are watching via YouTube, somehow I've managed up with the lead with 7 over par.
So Zook's 7 over. So that wasn't last night just huge. So I was coming. Basically, if you're listening, there's 5 teams. There's 5 of us that picked 4 players randomly in the draft, or not randomly. We randomly picked. We selected our players. Round 1, I was coming second at about 9 under. I think I was. And
3 under.
3 under, was it? Oh, yeah, 3 under. And then after the second round ran, look at this, 23 over. That's how crazy the weather was last night. So I've lost 20 shots.
Wow.
26 shots.
Yeah. So you're
Victor Hovland.
You're 20 over. Yeah. So we've all lost
Sorry, I was just going to say, Chris, I saw Victor Hovland. Did you see him? He literally lost the plot and dropped the bundle. There was
completely.
There was one hole there where he missed a 6-7 footer, and then it just dribbled away from the hole, and he just gave it a little tap to tap it in, and it went past. He just went to give it a gimme,
Yep.
went past, so he just had a shocker. So
Yeah.
No,
And
he
I
wasn't
picked
in the
him.
right headspace at all.
Yeah.
But look, still all to play for. As you know, as Ash had a 20-stroke turnaround today, that could be someone else tomorrow. We're all down a player, as we each have someone within the squad that didn't make the cut.
Yep.
So it'd be interesting to see what happens on moving day, and we might provide another quick update on the results of fantasy tomorrow. So
round 3.
Still all to play for, Ash. So I wouldn't feel too bad where you are at the moment.
So if we get a rundown, coming in 4th place right now is yours truly on 20 over. I've still got Brooks Koepka, Joachim Neiman, and Tornburn, Ollison still in there. Then you got 19 over, which is Tim from Discount Golf Balls. He's still got Aberg, Bhatia, and Rahm's been a bit disappointing. Then you've got Damo and Jake both tied at 10 over. Damo's still got Jason Day, Bryson, and Ryan Fox. God, he looked good early. I still think Ryan Fox has got a bit in him. I really do. Then we've got Jake on 10 under. He's got Fitzpatrick, Mickelson, and Smith. He could look good there. And then Zook still got, he's out in front with 7 over. Hideki Matsuyama, Patrick Reed, and Scotty Scheffler. So a lot to play for, but I was really disappointed how my boys played last night. Really disappointed. Chris, that's thanks for the wrap up, Ran and Chris. That's a nice little mini episode, wrapping up round 2 of the US Masters. We'll have a look how we're feeling tomorrow night. I'm going to get some sleep. We might do a wrap up of round 3.
Get a little nap in and watch more tonight.
Yeah, see what Jason Day's wearing.
Yeah, nice.
All right, see you all tomorrow. Thanks, boys.
You're listening to the ECG Hackers podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Each week we are dropping a new episode which you can find on